What is up, everyone, and welcome to Paycheck Paradox. This is the channel all about one thing, building up that financial independence so you can move beyond the 9-to-5 grind. Today, we're breaking down a really powerful investment framework from a new post on our blog, paycheckparadox.com. Now, you know the drill. Here's the super quick disclaimer. This is all for educational purposes, okay? I am not your financial advisor. So if you take this as a sign to go out and buy a literal truck full of shovels, well, that's on you. All right, let's get into it.
You've probably heard this saying before, right? It's a classic, but it's way more than just some clever phrase. It's the key to a less obvious and, frankly, a potentially much smarter way to invest in the huge trends that are shaping our world. So, let's hop in the time machine for a second and go all the way back to the California gold rush in the 1840s and 50s. I want you to just picture it. Tens of thousands of people risking everything they have, heading west with these big dreams of striking it rich. It was the ultimate high-stakes gamble. So with all that chaos, all that frantic digging and panning for gold, who do you think really walked away with the most consistent, life-changing money? Was it the lucky few who just happened to stumble upon some massive gold nugget? Well, the answer might actually surprise you. It wasn't the miners. The real sustainable fortunes were made by the merchants, the people selling the picks, the shovels, the wheelbarrows, even the durable denim jeans. You see, the prospector's life was all high risk and high stress. It was totally boom or bust, and it all came down to pure luck. But the shovel seller? That's a different story. They had way lower risk and a steady, predictable demand. They profited from the entire trend, not just one lucky strike. Okay, that's a great little history lesson, but how in the world does this apply to your stock portfolio today? Well, it's way more relevant than you might think. Let's see how this idea from the 1850s translates directly to how we can look at the market right now. So this brings us right to the heart of the strategy. Picks and shovels investing is all about putting your money into those essential underlying companies, the ones providing the tools, the infrastructure, or the services that a whole booming industry just simply cannot function without. So here's the million-dollar question. How do we find these modern-day shovels? Let's take this framework and apply it to some of the biggest investment themes that are happening right this second. Let's start with what is arguably the biggest gold rush of our entire lifetime, artificial intelligence. I mean, the hype is absolutely massive, and literally trillions of dollars are pouring into the companies that are leading this charge. Now look at the contrast here. The obvious gold play, the thing everyone is chasing, is buying the stock of the big AI chip designers. But stop and think. What do those chips absolutely have to even function? That's where we find the shovels. Power companies, especially ones with nuclear plants for that 24/7 energy, and companies that specialize in thermal management, or to put it simply, really advanced cooling systems. And the logic behind this is so simple, it's brilliant. AI data centers are total energy vampires. They need a ridiculous amount of reliable power. At the same time, those super high-performance chips get so dangerously hot that old-school fans just don't cut it anymore. Advanced liquid cooling has gone from being some niche product to an absolute necessity. Okay, let's run that same play again on another massive trend, the electric vehicle revolution. This is a huge, multi-decade industrial shift that's already happening all around us. So here, the gold is trying to pick which car brand is going to win the EV race, which is a brutal, super competitive market. The shovel play, on the other hand, you invest in what every single one of those car brands needs, no matter who wins. And we're talking about things like copper miners and tire manufacturers. And the reasoning here isn't some complex financial formula. It's just physics. An electric vehicle needs 3 to 4 times more copper wiring than a normal gas-powered car. On top of that, EVs are incredibly heavy and they have instant torque, which is a combination that just destroys tires, causing them to wear out up to 30% faster. That creates this amazing recurring replacement business for tire companies. So right about now, you might be thinking, utilities, mining, tires, this all sounds kinda boring. And you know what? You're right. But that is precisely why this approach can be so brilliant. Let's talk about the payoff. First up, you get lower volatility. I mean, think about it. If you bet everything on one EV startup and it goes bankrupt, you lose everything. But if you bet on copper, you win as long as the whole EV industry keeps growing. It doesn't matter which specific car company comes out on top. Second, and this one is my favorite, you get recurring revenue. Selling a car is a one-time thing, but selling the electricity to charge that car happens month after month after month. Replacing those worn-out tires happens every couple of years. These create the steady, predictable income streams that investors just absolutely love.
And finally, you can often find way better valuations. Shovel stocks are usually in these less hyped sectors, like industrials or utilities. They tend to trade at lower price to earnings multiples than the high-flying tech stocks they support, which can give you a nice margin of safety. You're simply not paying for all the hype.
Okay, so let's bring this all together. The big lesson here is to really train your brain to stop just thinking on the surface level and start thinking in layers. It really boils down to this simple 3-step mental model. First, you identify a massive, undeniable trend. Second, you spot the obvious gold play, the company that everybody is talking about. And then, here's the most important step. You just pause and you ask yourself, what are the essential tools, materials, or services that this entire trend cannot possibly live without? That's where you're going to find the shovels. So I'm going to leave you with a question to chew on. What do you think is the next big gold rush that's coming up on the horizon? And even more importantly, what are the boring, essential shovels that everyone else seems to be overlooking? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd genuinely love to see what you come up with. Thanks so much for watching this explainer on the Paycheck Paradox channel. For a much deeper look at this strategy with even more examples, go check out the full article over on paycheckparadox.com. And hey, don't forget, we release a podcast version of every single one of these videos so you can listen on the go. Be on the lookout for our next explainer. See ya!